what could have been differently with that podcast, or what could be improvements that you, the folks, would like to make if you comment on some of these posts?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, where would they leave those comments? Probably on your Facebook, right?
They would leave it on my Facebook.
Well, you heard that, folks. Tell them what's not, and also what's hot.
Okay, let me go back then.
I could really go for a short stack of pancakes right now.
I could go for a pizza, but that's not working.
Well, look, you may still get your pizza today, but I don't think the pancakes are happening.
No.
That pizza would have been, I'm telling you, that would have been the end. We wouldn't be podcasting. You'd be calling the seals over there in my bathroom. Undesirable, believe me.
The worst, for some reason, the lowest rated podcast on Journal to the Dreamscape was the Abraham Lincoln Dream episode, but I thought that was a good one.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know.
surprisingly, I had 3 downloads, but, you know, I was thinking I was going to get much more with that.
That's strange.
But it was like a peak. It's going down, now it's going up. So,
yeah, you know.
it's just, you know, I don't know. I thought Joe Baxter read Abraham Lincoln Dream very well.
He's nothing but professional, Joe Baxter. That's one thing we will say.
Yeah. Also, the lowest rating so far in the season was the opener of Slow-Mo Joe's Harmless Cricket. No, Slow-Mo Joe's Harmless Poetry Show, I should say. But there were only 2 episodes, so you know it's too soon to tell what's going on with the season.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But for the fact that the numbers are going up, it's a good sign for the season.
Well, again, the process is you compare it with the past, and how many seasons of Slow-Mo Joe have there been?
Well, actually, you know, comparing it to the past, that's what we're doing. Let me go back to the numbers.
Yeah, all right.
Last season, episode 2 had 4 plays, 3 downloads. This season, it's 5 plays, 8 downloads. So it is a 5 download improvement and a 1 play improvement from season 2.
Well, that's not bad, right?
So that show is a success.
Seems that way.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Let me get a swig of this water.
Moment by moment updates.
Yes. Also on the network, I'm going to do Spiritus Holographica.
What's that show again?
Spiritus Holographica.
What does it consist of?
Parallel universe, parallel Earth, and parallel reality.
How's that numbers? How are those numbers doing?
I've had episodes where the worst episode was episode 5, season 1. I had 2 downloads. The best was episode 1 and episode 7. And that 2 also got renewed for another season. And we're in the Joseph Evaldi Network studios recording some episodes.
Nice, nice.
Couldn't come to terms with Ricky on that. He had other obligations, respect, but we're just happy we have Kurt and Ricky with Ricky and Wolfman. So.
Yep.
Good stuff though. So yeah, that wasn't a bad arc for the season. It started out on the top. It started to lower a little bit. It rose a little bit, lowered, then it rose. So that's not a bad arc. It's promising stuff.
A whole lot of future in store.
Yes, a whole lot of future now. We won't do the Joseph Evaldi podcast yet because even though we should we do it?
I thought we were doing it right now. I thought that's what this was. Oh, you mean the numbers? Oh, numbers.
We'll do the numbers like from last season.
Well, the Joseph Evaldi podcast is the oldest podcast on this network, so you should be able to go all the way back.
Yeah, I could go back. Well,
that would be the most valuable study of all.
Well, this season, actually, I could do R&D for this.
I thought that's what today was all about.
2 episodes, there was a Soul Warriors Journey edition of the podcast, going over a little bit of a Soul Warriors Journey, some clips. That had 5 downloads. And the first episode year in review was 3 episodes. And compared to the other years, that's kind of low numbers. Because we were cranking before. We had some episodes where we had 13 episodes, 13 views, some 7, some 9. We were cranking. We were cranking fire with this podcast.
But that was the only podcast on the network at the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole point. Your fan base is diversified.
Yeah, it is diversified, and it's
you got more to offer now, though. So.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have been slipping on the ball with, I'll admit, my own podcast. We've been slipping on the ball with that.
I mean, I had to talk with Ricky about it, and he was telling me he was saying how it needed not so much an overhaul, but a good visiting as far as what the hell is going on type thing. You know?
I mean, that's the thing. Is we kind of we kind of had themes for the year. It's the first. This is my first podcast. I can discuss this a little bit.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do. Is the R&D day.
The first podcast first year we were doing business. Second year we were doing relationship stuff. Second year it was a downer of a year. Then we picked up business back in November, where we started a podcast in October.
Yeah.
And we were discussing a little bit about the rebranding. And then we went into
the network got branded.
Network, where we're launching the network. So it's this year is missing a theme, which we need to do.
Yeah, but it's look, I I talk with Ricky, and I also talk with Twilight Cricket about this on two separate occasions, and I don't always see eye to eye with those guys. But one thing I did agree with that they said, the Joseph Evaldi podcast. Where is the Joseph Evaldi in the Joseph Evaldi podcast? Like, where there's some things we know that Joseph Evaldi likes. He likes pizza. He likes pro wrestling.
Yeah.
He likes expressing discontent. He likes, you see what I'm saying?
I agree.
So the way they put it to me was, Joseph Evaldi podcast should have a lot more to do with Joseph Evaldi.
Yeah, yeah.
And if that means, you like your writing, so you could read that. It's all about segments. That's what they kept saying.
Yeah.
Eventually I had to ignore them because they kept going on and on about it because there's something wrong. But
I need, it's like I need some good, solid segments for Joseph Evaldi, and it's like, I for my podcast, it's like, I'm heading at crossroads. It's like, for going on my 5th season now, like, it's, running his podcast after a while is, it's very good. Very good. It's like, I went through different phases. Now I'm entering into the new phase.
New phase?
New phase, and we need to discover that new phase.
Well, I think it sounds like you're heading into the new phase like it's a fog bank.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, again, how do you feel when I say that other stuff? When I say, well, what about pizza? What about pro wrestling? What about, Joseph Evaldi likes coffee. So there should be a coffee segment on the Joseph Evaldi podcast.
Yeah.
Joseph Evaldi likes wrestling.
Yeah.
So there should be then a wrestling in the ascending order of devotion. In other words, if he likes wrestling more than he likes coffee, maybe he should reorder the segments. But then the last one is Joseph Evaldi really likes his writing. So
yeah.
He talks about, well, my book, this is my book, and here's a chapter. I, the author, will read you a such and such. You see where I'm getting at with this?
I see where you're getting at, because...
Do you not agree? Do you think that... what would you suggest?
Here's like, hot off the press.
Oh, the battering ram, whipping the door right off the hinges.
I went through the whole, phases of the show and everything else.
Yeah.
And, one whole year I was focusing on my discontent with relationships. Don't have that much. Everything is going well with that.
I'm happy to hear that.
And, also on top of that, my business, that's something that I did in the beginning. But now it's like I'm working on it, and I don't need to rehash things. Like, this is Joseph Evaldi, this is me. So I gotta, put stuff that I'm interested in. Like you said, coffee, like you said, wrestling, like you said,
and you're writing. So 3-segment show.
Sci-fi too.
Well, look, yeah, that's fine. But my point is sci-fi. I mean, I'll put it to you this way, okay? You're definitely into sci-fi, but wrestling. You quote wrestling. When I first got involved with this, I never heard so many wrestling quotes. I thought you were Sam Roberts, the second coming of Sam Roberts over here.
Yeah, yeah.
So the minute I heard that, I was like, well, he must be into wrestling. And I never saw you without a cup of coffee. I'm amazed there's not one here now. It's astonishing. What, is it still Lent or something? I don't know. I don't pay attention to this.
I'm kind of cutting back on coffee a little bit, but I'm drinking tea.
I see.
However, I am still having a cup of coffee a day.
Yes, well, my point is you're very fond of coffee, so logic would dictate you do yourself a favor, try a new thing of coffee, Hey, I know, you should go to Starbucks and order each one off the menu.
Yeah.
one after another. Every time you do a Joseph Evaldi podcast.